This flood scene that you're witnessing has happened in Tehran, Iran, and the death toll is climbing. At least 32 people have been reported to have lost their lives as of March 26th, which was yesterday. And today, the 27th, I have not heard or seen any reports about the death toll. Now, many streets have been collapsed completely. In fact, there was a landslide. And as you see in the scene, many cars have been washed away. And some parts of the capital city of Iran, Tehran, are reportedly submerged completely in the floodwater, while the traffic police have been forced to block several roads and highways because they have sunk. In this video, you will also see that there's a lot of flooding and a lot of lost lives in Africa because of Cyclone Idai. In addition to that, also in Asia, there was a lot of flooding and lost lives. Now, I believe personally that a lot of this has to do with Matthew chapter 24, verse 8, where it talks about all these are the beginning of birth pains.
مشاهده کنین نگاه داره ماشین میکنه تو هم دیگه مشاهده کنین وای 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 یا اول فرد یا اول
The water came on fast, so fast that here in Shiraz, Iran, people found themselves suddenly stuck in their cars as the racing floodwaters surrounded them. Others climbed out of a bus, waiting on the vehicle's roof to be rescued. In this city in southern Iran, many were killed, and nearly 100 others were injured by flash floods.
خدای بزرگ کمکشون کن این بیچاره برای مردم بمیرم اینا رو این وسط دیوانه
An hour's drive south of Beira, and you can see why that city is effectively an island. Climate scientists have been warning the world for decades that man-made climate change would do two things. It would mean that hurricanes and cyclones would become more and more intense, and that therefore some of the people with the world's smallest carbon footprints would pay the heaviest price. Right now, you can see that all across this region of Mozambique. The country's infrastructure ripped up, obliterated, people's lives pulled apart and destroyed.
To leave Beira is to enter a new and saturated landscape, the vast and lethal calling card of Cyclone Idai. Villages of wood and thatch stood no chance. Last Friday night, the battering would go on for 8 hours. Inike points to the ruin that was home till last Friday. Like so many here, Enike would tell us it was incredible. It started around 10 last Friday and went on until 6 in the morning. His neighbour, also homeless, injured by the storm, like so many thousands here. Zacharias hit by debris whilst desperately trying to protect his home. So now they live here, a rough shelter at least from the sudden torrential rainstorms, a makeshift shack on a road embankment. In this world, elevation means salvation. So now they survive on catfish netted here and scraps of maize found in the floodwaters. One family's lost harvest, another's found lifeline. It is survival, nothing more. And water? Everyone just shrugs. We drink the floodwater, they say. A mile or so up the road, this is the railway station in Tika. Home, if that's the word, to more than 500 people made homeless by the cyclone. Overnight here, there was yet more torrential rain. Francisca and her friend Aisha are preparing maize, again found in the floodwater. They say that and a few fish from the same floodwater is all they have, and this, shamefully, is a week on from the cyclone. A few miles further down the road, and there is no road. They don't know how many people are still to be reached out there, but the aid agencies know they can't get to them by land. Others are making it out from the flood zone to the beaches at Beira, where there is at least some food and water. But thousands are beginning to arrive in the city, itself 90% damaged, with no electricity and limited supplies of safe water. The WFP, World Food Programme, and other agencies have begun emergency food aid distributions, but this is very little, and frankly, a week on, it is very late. Outside the city, frankly, who knows what's going on? The government talks of 15,000 people unaccounted for, but it's very close to guesswork. WFP.
With media attention focused on the havoc caused by Hurricane Harvey in the US, aid agencies say thousands of people have died in floods in Africa and Asia as climate change worsens weather worldwide. Floods in India, Bangladesh and Nepal have killed more than 1,200 people and affected 40 million more, and are likely to intensify as monsoon rains continue. The situation is worse this year, with thousands of villages cut off and people deprived for days of food and clean water. At least 13 people were killed by flooding in Pakistan's largest city, Karachi, after heavy monsoon rains hit the sprawling metropolis. The deluge came a day after Mumbai in India was hit with floods that killed at least 14 people. Tuesday's deluge saw nearly a month's average rainfall in a single day. Countries in the region suffer frequent flooding during the June-September monsoon season, but aid agencies say things have been worse than normal this year.